So, in 2008, after Jamie Curtis pulled the bullshit that she did, I went back to Boulder and I started saving lives. When people were having a bad day, I brought them positivity. I brought them laughs. I brought them smiles. I brought them food. I took them to the resources so they'd know where they were at. People don't like being treated how they treat me. That's a fact. They don't like being talked to the way they talk to me. They're allowed to freak out at me and fucking berate me and fucking treat me like shit. They're allowed to do so repeatedly. I put up with them treating me like shit because they promised to help. But then they didn't. They didn't make any effort to help. Ogre is selfish. I've always known he's selfish. But he still helped. There's a lot of people who have been through the shit that I've been through. I tried to communicate with them. But they wouldn't. They didn't like the fact that I was in a shitty fucking mood for the last 2 goddamn years. Well, there's a reason I've been in a shitty mood for the last 2 goddamn years. It's because, unlike them, I don't get to see my loved ones in person. I don't get to have positivity in my life. Everywhere that I go, I listen to people bitching about their problems and then treating me like shit because I have problems too. These people all have family help. Tell me about how they don't. Angela, she lives with her aunt. Even though she's a drug addict who can't stay off the drugs, her aunt's a lot like me, I take it. Her aunt's willing to help her because she cares about Angela's son. So Ogre, he's one of them people with a chronic shitty fucking attitude no matter what. Me, if I'm around positive people and have positive things going on, I can be positive. It's the sheer quantity of hell that I go through without any positivity that fucking kills me. There's a woman here in Cheyenne, Wyoming who I've known for over 20 years. Her husband doesn't like her having friends, so if she feels trapped, she deals with it by drinking. And then he treats her like shit because she's drinking, which makes her want to drink more. She let her son beat her up last week. When I say let him, I mean it. She could have beaten that little boy piss fucking limber. But no, she took the abuse. We have to just take the abuse, no matter who it is, even if it's family. She wants her husband to be happy. She wants her kids to be happy, but she's not happy. She helped me out the best she could. But the help that she offered, she couldn't deliver because her husband won't allow it. Last year, she told me that I could come up there for a safe place. After I invested what little money I had into getting there, she let me know her husband said no. See, I wasted my resources to get to places where I could get the help that I needed. But people all changed their minds once I was there. I need help clearing my name. Those who threw me away showed their true colors. I don't want them back in my life. They can't see me as a human being. They can't treat me the way that they want to be treated. And they don't like being treated how they treat me. Assisted suicide should be legal. I've been begging for somebody to kill me for over 2 years. For a reason. Because I've been through hell. And those who promised to help didn't. They didn't help. There's a few of them who helped me with little shit. And I am glad for that help. But the help that I needed was for these predators to leave me alone, and the police wouldn't help with that. They joined it. Well, I get pretty words from people that I actually helped. I didn't just give Ogre pretty words. I gave him 2 months of my life just over that one situation with his daughter. 2 months of my life. Angela, when she was methed out of her goddamn gourd and just needed somebody to talk to, I listened to her while she treated me like shit because she was on meth and didn't want to admit it. It's tobacco. But she did admit it. That doesn't make it right. The rules are different for you than they are for me, Ogre. You expect different from yourself than you expect from me. You know, he tried to pull that bullshit about how his daughter is more important than me. Well, with all due respect, alcohol is more important than his daughter. He gets pissed off because he can't get what he wants, and he goes on a drinking binge. Angela gets pissed off because she doesn't get what she wants, and she goes on a meth and drinking binge. I don't go on drinking binges. I don't do meth. When Ogre needed help, I helped him. When I needed help, he treated me like shit. You're damn right I'm going to call him out on that. In 22 years, my dad never once called me just to say he cares. He never once called me just to call me. He only called me if I called him and begged him to call me. There's a lot of people like Todd Rust, pretends to be Christian when it suits him. Todd Rust has a tattoo on his shoulder. I drew that tattoo. It's a cross crushing a snake. Unfortunately, Todd's the snake. See, these people want to go out of their way not to understand positivity in person. For Ogre, getting to hang out with his friends in person helps him out. For Catherine Beta Wallace, her husband and her kids help her to not feel this way. because they're there every day. Froger, seeing his daughter helps him out, helps him to feel better. His parents treat him like shit when he goes to see his daughter, and that puts him in a shitty fucking mood, and he takes it out on others. But that's because he misses his daughter, and he's allowed to be pissed off. But I miss my loved ones too, and I'm not. With Angela, she goes on a fucking bender every time her ex comes and takes her son. And she's depressed, and she's in a shitty fucking way, and a shitty fucking attitude. And then, when she's got her son, well, she's happy-go-lucky, and everything is fucking fine and dandy. Is that bipolar? No, it's not. We all need somebody in real life. Some consistency. Some safety. Someone who is familiar to us. Everybody who is familiar to me, I'm separated from. What the Bollingers did to me before Natalie died for an entire year prevented me from seeing my loved ones, from seeing those who I'm familiar with, from seeing those who bring positivity to my life. I don't have a reason to be positive anymore. I don't have anyone in my life. They're all trying to make people happy that can't be made happy. People who get overly critical over everything that they do. David and Betsy Prowell, what they did to me was fucking terrible. For me to try to explain to them why I couldn't go there, why I couldn't see them in person, while they ignored me for months on end. And then they went out of their way to stage like they gave a shit, typing that they loved me. Sure they did. It didn't take them 45 minutes after that to talk shit. Didn't bother to try talking to me in person. They just wanted to go straight to Facebook. And then they wanted to ask me to keep their names out of my mouth. Fuck you. I'm not going to keep the Bollingers' names out of my mouth either. They could have done something as adults. They could have tried to understand. Instead, they fucked with my head and fucked with my head. And yes, I am pissed off at those people who called me friend because they proved that they're not. Day before yesterday, Angela was offering to send me a phone card. Day before that, too. That would have been nice. That would have been helpful. But she wanted to type a bunch of pretty fucking words, too. What you think is what happens. Really? Because I'm thinking about, what should I think about? I'm going to think about being on a boat in the middle of the ocean. I'm not on a boat in the middle of the ocean. I'm still here alone in a vehicle I can't afford, in a place where I don't have any friends. The one friend I do have gets in trouble for talking to me, for being my friend. So much hell has happened in the last 2 years. I needed one person, just one person, to make an effort to understand and do something to help. I got a bunch of pretty fucking words. Lots of people asked me how they could help. I told them how they could help, but they were too lazy to do it. They can type pretty fucking words on Facebook for hours on end. But they can't take the time to take screenshots in those groups of the shit that those people put me through. Meanwhile, those people go through and pick out the bits and pieces that they can use to try to paint me as a bad guy. They're allowed a day in court and I'm not. I should have been allowed to confront my accusers. But people don't care about the homeless. That's the problem. I keep explaining to you guys that I need somebody in person, while most of you have people in person. There's a woman named Missy. Her and her boyfriend go rounds. And then she hates him and she's depressed and she gets a hold of me. And then things go good with them for a bit. They have another honeymoon period. And she ignores me because her life is good. She only gets a hold of me when things are bad. And then people for the last 2 years are like, Sean, you only get a hold of me when things are bad. That's because things are always bad. For the last 2 years, my life has been hell. I didn't want to get diagnosed with autism. But I needed help, and people kept telling me there's these services that'll help me to defend myself against these monsters. I just need to get diagnosed. So I got diagnosed. And everything has been done since then to fucking treat me like an animal. How much abuse am I supposed to take? My dad, he treated me like shit almost every time we talked for 22 years. When I was up in Washington State, he wasn't physically abusive like he used to be, because he's got heart problems. So he was verbally abusive. When it came to doing what he wanted, he was all gung-ho. When it came to doing what I needed, he wouldn't even listen. I kept telling him, Dad, stop and take the time to understand. And immediately he would say, I can't understand. That's because you're not going to try. Nobody tried to understand. When they needed help, I tried to understand. And that's why I was able to help people. That's why I was able to help Ogre. That's why I was able to help Angela, but they didn't try to understand. When Angela doesn't have her son, she wants to bitch at me nonstop. How terrible things are. And then when she has her son, she becomes a completely different person, just like Missy does. When she's with her boyfriend and they're having good times. I don't need a fucking therapist. I need these people to come forward and tell the truth instead of treating me like shit and throwing me away.